this is angle A and this is angle B, and so we'll say that angle A is congruent to angle B because they're vertical angles, right? All right. Well, notice, is angle 1 and angle 4, are those vertical angles? No, they are not. They are not vertical angles. But we're told that they're congruent, right? So I'm going to think out loud here. What do I know? Well, what are angles 1 and 4? Yes? They're supplementary because they're a linear pair. Angle 1 and angle 4, that's a linear pair of angles. Why? Because those two angles are connected right next to each other and they share a line, right? Okay, what about 2 and 3?
They're also supplementary.
They're also supplementary and they share a line, so they're a linear pair. What about 1 and 3? They're vertical. And what does that tell us about 1 and 3? They're congruent. And what about 2 and 4?
They're also congruent to each other.
Yeah, so watch this. I'm going to say, how about angle 4 is congruent to angle 2, right? And that's based on vertical angles are congruent. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so then how about angle 1 is congruent to angle 3 for the same reason, right? Because they're vertical angles, and vertical angles are also congruent.
That's Grant's battery.
Yeah, don't worry about that. That's just the battery. All right, so now we're asked to prove. What I love about proofs, some people don't like them, but I like proofs because they're giving me the answer. I got to end up with angle 3 is congruent to angle 2. Right? That's what I'm trying to get to. Now, look at what I have on the board. What would you write down next? Because we're basically done. I don't know if you guys see that or not. I did it a little different than the way the book does it. So let me point something out. If angle 4 is congruent to angle 2, and I have angle 1 is congruent to angle 4, but angle 4 is congruent to angle 2, what could I say?
They're all congruent to
Angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Now what property was that? Transitive. So by using the transitive property, I'm kind of cutting out the middleman, right? Okay, I'm gonna clear that off the screen though, because it'll probably confuse you if you guys look at it later. All right. So now that's a transitive property. Hey, I'm almost there. So what can I do next? Yes.
Since angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, and angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, you can draw from that angle 3 is congruent to angle 2.
Yeah. Well, so this very next line, I could say, let's choose red. I could say angle 3 is congruent to angle 2, right? Which is what our proof was. Now, how do I justify that? Well, we said that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, but angle 1 is also congruent to angle 3. So I'm going to cut out the middleman and say angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. So I'm going to plug in angle 3 is congruent to angle 2. What property was that?
Transitive.
Transitive again, right? Now your textbook did the transitive first and then did the vertical angle thing. I just did the vertical angle first. I wasn't paying attention to the notes. Okay? Either way is correct.